Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Fazlin Akil channel. Okay guys, so sebelum mulakan video jangan lupa like, comment, share dan subscribe. Dan aktifkan juga lonceng notifikasi supaya korang tidak ketinggalan video-video terbaru dari channel ini. Okay, so pada petang ni ataupun pada hari ini aku nak memperbaiki lagi ya. Asyik memperbaiki aku ni guys. Okay, so hari ni aku nak memperbaiki apa? Ya, aku nak memperbaiki permainan Fury Driver 2 Original Scene. Sebab hari tu video tu terlampau bosan ya. Sebab menurut aku video tu terlampau bosan. Sebab aku duk asyik tak jumpa jalan, tak jumpa benda. Jumpa tapi lama, memerlukan masa yang lama. Dan aku review tak habis guys ya. Okay, so kerana itu aku nak review dan aku nak memperbaiki juga permainan Fury Driver 2 Original Scene. So tunggu apa lagi? Mari kita mulakan. Buka aplikasi Fury Driver 2.
Halaman 2 daripada 2. Pertuturan tidak aktif.
Welcome to Fury Driver Original Sin. Swipe left to continue a previous game. Swipe right to start a new game. Swipe up or down to increase or decrease the background music's volume. Tap to listen to the credits.
Kita swipe kanan untuk start a new game.
Hey, you're back in Moon City.
Skip.
The first step to breaking down is 1. You must rob the city.
Okay.
You have safe to bank to First Street number. This intersection is near the club district, where several restaurants and music clubs are, including the one most visited by Virgil's father. You have reached news to club district to First.
Alhamdulillah.
Virgil always ignored this street, but he just now noticed a weird-looking house in a space between the tall buildings, more fitting in a suburban setting than a downtown one, given that it has a small home garden and everything. Must belong to some eccentric rich guy around here. You have reached toy shop.
Okay, so aku nak beritahu. So nanti kalau ada masa aku akan review pula Fury Driver Moonwalk, iaitu Fury Driver 1.
To Goddess's apartment. To First.
Sambung.
The main street actually continues a bit more to the east than Virgil thought. There's an intersection in the distance leading either north or outside town, where the desert begins. You have save point. You save the cat. To First Street.
So di sini ada gangster yang kita kena lawan
This
ya.
is the intersection Virgil saw in the distance. The number of the road is assigned to a small stationery shop near the city's limits, on the right side of the road. The road going north still leads out of town, but to a more plant-rich environment than the nearby desert. You can of liquid to East Road. Can of liquid to First Street to East Road. This road leads north up some hills, and various fat plants, the vegetation of the place, surround the street. At a certain point, the road splits in half, one part going downhill toward a garage, another leading up to an open space where a single two-story house lies isolated in a grass field. You have a combat gang with explosives.
So korang ingat lagi ya. So cara nak fight adalah swipe ke atas untuk attack, swipe ke kiri, ke kanan atau ke bawah untuk dodge, dan double tap 2 kali dengan satu jari untuk minum healing potion. So kalau sudah ada 6 peluru, so kalau habis peluru dia, 2 jari ketuk sekali untuk reload. Jom kita mulakan sekarang ya.
3 gangsters from a gang unknown to Virgil.
So jom kita berlawan.
The shootout has begun. Shots on the right. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Virgil gets hit. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Enemy defeated. Shots on the left. He has no more medicines. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. He has no more medicines. Shots on the right. Less than 75% life. Virgil gets hit. Defeated. He's a little stunned. Less than 75% life. Virgil gets hit. He's a little stunned. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Victory.
Okay.
Virgil gets the explosives. Double tap to continue. Combat. Part combat. Snake to Raptor's head to first.
So seterusnya kita pergi ke mansion.
You have to first street.
So jauh jauh, memang jauh. Mansion tu
You have save point to second save. You save to first. You have to first street. To first street. Newspaper sell to first. An intersection that leads to the city square, the bank, or the eastern side of the city. You save. You save to main square to
downtown center.
the most central place of the most central part of the city. Nothing unusual here, apart from street artists here and there performing on the sidewalk or selling newspapers. You have to drugstore, to First Street. A cafe opened up shop here last week. There's also the mechanic that helped Virgil with the races, but he feels he won't need his help anymore, unless, for some weird twist of fate, he has to drive in the races yet again. Cafe to First Street. This is the beginning of the main street of the city. The alleys at this corner of the city always hide some surprises, apparently. Must be a common place for gangsters to meet up. You, teenager, a group of teenagers to 7th Avenue. A road leading outside the city. A hardware store has opened up shop last month, apparently. You, tech expert. To hardware store. To 7th to First T to 7th Avenue. The intersection from which the outskirts or the suburbs can be reached. The pawn shop has closed business. Now, instead of an angry dude at its doorstep, there's just a sign that says, for sale. You have a save point. You save the old woman. To road to outskirt.
Kita ke outskirt lo.
The outskirts nightclub appears to be still in business. Its money laundering schemes have not stopped, apparently. You ban to out-of-town road. It appears that the few buildings behind the pawn shop have been demolished while Virgil was out of town. Now just piles of debris remain in their stead. You construction's piles of facilities. There are very few apartments from this point on, but something catches Virgil's eye. A small mansion on the northern side of the road, surrounded by an orange wall 3 meters tall. You tumbleweed to outskirts man. The mansion has a red velvet carpet, and the ground floor consists of 3 rooms. The doors are open. There's not much furniture around the foyer. Combat to left room.
Okay, sini.
The shootout has 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots on the right. He has no more medic. 100% life points. He's in great. 100%. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle.
Lepas ni kita double tag dia, tengok
Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. He has no more medicines. Shots on the left. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots on the left. He has no more medicines.
Aku double tag guys.
Shots on the left. He has no more medicines. Shots on the right. 100% life points. He's in great shape. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots on the right. He has no more.
Oh, sorry guys.
Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. 100. Victory. Virgil gets a weapon. Double tap. To Moon City. Combat to front room. To right to Moon. You have reached to out-of-town road.
Jadi, sekarang kita kena
You have reached to outskirts. To towns.
kita kena ambil barang-barang kita guys. So, jom.
You have reached to 7th Avenue.
untuk pergi bank guys. So jom ikut aku.
You to 7th Avenue. To First Street. To First Street. To downtown. You to drugstore. To first.
Kita ambil barang kita dekat naik dekat ada tempat.
Sit to bank. Sit. You sit to bank. To first.
Okay.
You have newspaper to club district. All the city's recreational places are concentrated in these few blocks. And just now, Virgil notices that among the garish and bright neon signboards of the locales, some alleys and normal buildings can be seen here and there, more so near the northern part of the district, which Virgil didn't pay much attention to because his father's blues club was near the beginning of the place. Hardware store, the blues club, to end of club. The northern part of the district is badly lit, being farther away from the signboards of the establishments which attract people who live the nightlife. At the furthest point of the road, there's a dead end with only some red brick condominiums facing the road. You electronic remote controller. To Chinese to club district. To hackers condominium. To Chinese restaurant. Sin told Virgil that the car he provided for the heist has been hidden near the best Chinese restaurant of the club district. This place is a dark, narrow concrete road, and an open garage can be seen about 10 meters into the alley. You have boss's wall to Moon City. Boss's car to Moon. You have reached to club district. To Chinese restaurant. To club.
Okay, seterusnya kita pergi ambil fuse. Mana fuse
Hardware to blues. To end of club. To First Street. You to First Street. You have safe to bank. To First Street. To downtown center. You to drugs to First Street. To second to drugstore. To first to Second Avenue. To First Street. To Second Avenue. Number 6 to to First Street. To first to Second Avenue. Number to First Street. Number 7. To First Street. Number 19. To Main Square. Virgil notices that there are not only skyscrapers here, but also condominiums here and there. The former must have been built to store offices inside, while the latter's purpose is habitation. You have reached surveillance to downtown surveillance expert. This is to first supermarket, to first to downtown supermarket, to down. A barren and dusty apartment. The floor is brown parquet and the walls are white. There's just a table and a couch in the living room, and every other piece of furniture has been already taken away, either to a garbage dump, a storage room, or another house. Dusty fuse. A fuse. Dusty to Moon City. Dusty to.
Okay, dah ambil fuse.
You have supermarket to first to downtown supermarket to First Street.
Downtown condominium
You have safe to bank. Safe used to bank to first to down to main safe to down to First Street.
Seterusnya kita cari strategi apa dah? Ada benda tu guys nama dia.
You have rate to First Street newspaper sell to club to First Street to first newspaper to First.
Ada tu.
Toy shop to First Street to First to Goddesses apart toy shop to First. You have rate save point to Second Street save you save cat to First to Second save to First Street cat to First.
Ada benda tu mana nak?
You have reached to First to East Road to First to East Road.
Kat sini eh.
You have combat comes to Raptor to First combat to First. You have reached to First Street. You save cat to first to second. Another entrance to the ghetto. The asphalt has been fixed, and a nearby street that leads behind some of the ghetto's condos is now accessible. You have to ghetto, to First Street, to Back Street, to ghetto, to back. That's a dead end. There are 4 trash bins for recycling different kinds of waste, and staircases that lead to the building's rooftops, probably there for security. You laundry, strategies expert. They should laundry to Second Street.
Tu lah guys, strategi tu. Okay, sekarang dah boleh pergi main.
You have to First Street, to back to First Street.
Jom, buka aku pergi bank guys. Kat situ rupanya.
You to Second Street, number to First. You have to First Street. Newspapers to First. You have reached save point. You saved to bank. Virgil, Hill, and the...
Okay, cantik. Dah boleh masuk. Masuk.
The bank has glass walls that show the main street outside. Gray felt floor and white walls. The furniture's materials are a mix of wood and plastic. Virgil, Hill, and the experts storm in, masks worn and weapons and explosives in hand. They threaten everyone in the bank, and while the civilians and employees listen, some guards can be seen pulling out their guns in the back part of the bank. You have back receptionist to middle of the bank. A portion of the bank which leads to the foyer. The few people in the bank comply with the assailant's request of staying put, so Virgil can move to the back effortlessly.
Okay.
Regular to back of the bank.
Sekarang kita lawan guard.
The great metallic door to the bank vault is at the end of the bank, near the restrooms. A guard there points his gun at Virgil. You have reached back guard. The shootout has begun. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. 100% life points. Shots on the left. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. He has shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Victory! Virgil gets a weapon. Double watered it to bank vault. The vault has light blue walls lit with dim white light coming from neon lamps on the ceiling. Several stacks of golden ingots are laid in the back of the room, and stacks of dollar bills fill the metallic shelves of the furniture of the room. You have gold ingots, gold and Virgil, gold to the back of the...
Okay, dapat duit, gold.
You to middle of... You to bank to moon gold and money. Touch the screen with 5 fingers to skip the instructions. In a race, touch the left or right part of the screen to move in that direction. You will accelerate automatically until you reach the car's top speed. A voice will tell you where incoming obstacles are coming from. 2 kinds of beeping sounds can be heard. One when an obstacle is in front of you, and another when you're getting too close to the edge of the track. Getting hit slows you down, and if you take too much time to complete the circuit, you will lose. So, go as fast as you can.
Okay. Jadi macam
Get ready. Start in 3, 2, 1. Obstacle on the right. Left. Left turn incoming.
Okay, pusing kiri.
Turn completed. Right. Left. Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Right turn incoming.
Pusing kiri, pusing kanan.
Turn completed.
Oke, kanan.
Track left turn incoming 50%.
Oh, 50% dah. Sedap ni.
Turn completed. Center. Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Right. Right. Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Left. Center. Left turn incoming.
Kita pusing kiri ya guys.
Turn completed. Center. Right. The escape is over. Virgil successfully escaped. Second, disposal of toxic waste in the city. Virgil would have to go to the warehouse, take a few barrels, and collect garbage in about 6 places.
So kita kena pergi warehouse tu.
You have reached road sign to warehouse.
Kita kena ambil barrels.
This is the warehouse where Sin wants Virgil to take some barrels to store toxic waste in. It's similar to the one he's been before. It's almost adjacent to that one, in fact. This one has a rectangular shape and not a square one. Aesthetically, it's a very big room with wooden boxes of various sizes all around, with some other items and containers that can be seen every now and then. And the walls are of a metallic tin-like alloy. You empty barrel. To the warehouse. Right back. To the warehouse. To the warehouse. To moons. To the warehouse.
Okay, dapat satu.
From here it's possible to go straight, left, or right. You have reached warehouse. Left from the entrance. Empty barrel. Virgil load
Okay, dua.
to the warehouse. Left back. One half of the back of the building. The other one is, obviously, on the right. Box. To the warehouse. To the box. To the warehouse. Right back. To the warehouse. Left from the entrance. To warehouse. Bottom left. It's another corner. It's possible to go only 2 ways from here. You empty barrel. Virgil load to the warehouse. Left back. To the warehouse. Top left.
Okay, cari lagi.
It's a corner of the building. From here it's only possible to go south or east. Barrels. Closed barrel. To warehouse. To the warehouse. Barrels. Closed to warehouse. Bottom left. To the warehouse. Left from the entrance.
Okay, bawa dapat 3.
You to the warehouse. Left back. To warehouse entrance. To the warehouse. Top left. To the warehouse. Left back. You box. To the warehouse. Right back.
Okay, jadi lagi.
One half of the back of the building. The other one is, predictably, on the left. You locker. Empty barrel. Virgil to warehouse entrance. To the warehouse. Left back. Locker. To the warehouse. Bottom right. Locker. To where
Okay, bawa depan
the
empat.
corner of the building. An empty barrel can be barely seen behind some crates. You empty barrel. Virgil to the warehouse. Top right. There's a barrel in plain sight, but it has a big hole in the bottom. That's no good. Fortunately, there's another one near the upper wall. You table, empty barrel.
6.
To warehouse table, to warehouse entrance.
Okay, dah. Dapat 6.
You have reached to Moon City. Virgil load 6. Some buildings are on the southern side of the road. They're all like warehouses, but some of them have other purposes, like car garages and dance clubs. Waste collection point. 2 facilities.
Okay, kena ambil 6 juga.
You have reached to out of town tumbleweed. To out of town road. Construction to outskirts. Construct pile to outskirts. Waste collection
2.
to 7th Avenue, number 6. You have to 7th Avenue. Safe to 7th Avenue. Safe point. You safe to 7th. You T to 1st Street. No.
Oh, dapat 2.
Teenage waste collection. A
Tiga.
small to 1st Street. You have cafe to downtown center. You have to 2nd Avenue to drugs to 1st Street to 2nd to 1st. You have safe to Main Square. Safe. You safe you to bank to 1st Street to downtown center to 1st Street number 20. You have rate to 1st Street newspaper seller to club to 1st.
Oh, dapat 3.
You have rate to 1st Street toy shop to got it to 1st Street.
Lagi tak?
Safe point to 2nd Street to 1st Street to 1st Street number. You Taste Road to 1st Taste Road to 1st Street Taste Road.
Kat sini ada tak?
You Combat to 1st Street to Raptor Snake to Raptor to 1st.
Tak ada. Okay, baru dapat 3.
You to 1st Street. You to 2nd Street.
Oh. Sorry.
You up to 1st Street to Ghetto to back to 1st Street. You up to 2nd to 1st. You have to 1st Street. You have right to 1st. You have reached to Main Square, to downtown center. You have to drug to 1st to 2nd. This intersection leads to the places most important to the everyman, namely the ones in downtown. You have waste collection to downtown center, bus stop to 2nd Avenue, to Mains to
Lagi dua.
This is the intersection that leads to the most central part of the downtown and the ghetto. Its streets are being cleaned by some particularly noisy and slow machines built specifically for that purpose. You have informant, woman on informant. The informant is a small man, 1 meter 60, woman to 2nd Avenue.
Okay, biar tu saya potong.
From here, the downtown can be reached going north, while the harbor is in the opposite direction. A few shops have opened up in the last few days. You have waste collection, a big hardware store to 5th Street, number 9, to 2nd Avenue, number 2.
Satu lagi. One more.
The concrete of the street, which was in a state of general disrepair, has been worked on, and now the street is perfectly clean and smooth. It appears whoever is responsible for the street's maintenance waits until basically the last second before starting any work. You to 2nd Avenue, homeless man to 2nd. The harbor is in the east, but there seems to be a roadblock preventing access to it. The nightclub is west from here, and a few establishments have opened since Virgil's last visit. Trash can to 11th Street to 11th Street. The nightclub is in a state of disrepair, and a few men are busy bringing furniture outside of it. They're probably moving them somewhere else. You have waste to nightclub, to Harbor Garage, to 2nd Avenue.
Dapat nak. Sekarang kita pergi.
You have safe. You save trash can to 11th.
Kita pergi sini, ada open space.
Several containers have been shuffled around east from here, as if something needed to be moved behind them in these days. There doesn't seem to be enough room to pass through them now, though. You guards. The guards keep to Harbor, to 2nd Avenue, to open space.
Okay, kat sini.
A flat concrete square of the same material as the harbors. Each side is about 6 meters long, and there are no railings on the sides to prevent one from falling into the sea, which is about 5 meters below. There's a hole in the ground, and nothing else of note. You have reached open space. Coastline, secluded hole in the ground. A cylindrical hole in the ground, about 1.5 meters wide in diameter.
Okay, tembak.
The shootout had shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle.
Oopsie.
Virgil gets hit. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets less than 50% life points. He begins to falter. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Enemy defeated. Shots in the middle.
Satu lagi enemy.
Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Victory.
Dah.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap to continue. Coastline to Moon City. After disposing of the 3 gang,
Okay, jom. Kita kena escape.
get ready.
Lagi
Start in 3, 2,
2,
1. Obstacle in the center. Obstacle on the right. Virgil turn incoming.
Aduh.
Turn completed. Obstacle on the left.
Obstacle dia cepat guys.
Left.
Ha.
Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Right. Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Center. Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Left. Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Left. Right turn incoming. Track completed at 50%. Turn completed. Left. Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Right. Right. Virgil gets hit. Obstacle on the right. Obstacle on the left.
Wow. Laju guys.
Left turn incoming.
Ada truck.
Turn completed. Out of track. Obstacle on the left. Obstacle in the center.
Ayo.
Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Center.
Yuk.
Left turn incoming.
Laju guys.
Turn completed. Center. Right. Left turn incoming.
Sebaik dapat elak.
The escape is over.
Okay.
Virgil successfully escaped. Third, debt collection. Some people ask Sin for money, but fail to return it, and so Virgil has to force it out of those people. The debtors are expected to be in a laboratory north and a nearby nightclub. You have raped Baker to Fontana's lab.
Ya, kita kena ke lab sekarang.
This appears to be a lab. It has red brick walls, shatterproof windows, and a metallic door. Trash container. Car to main room.
Kita kena ke lab.
The main room is deserted. There's nothing inside except metallic pieces of furniture and tables here and there. Whoever works here must have left some days ago, and might have left the city already. Virgil deems appropriate to have a look around, just in case there are some clues regarding the fugitives. Calendar. The calendar to the left side of
Kat sini ada apa?
the smallest room of the lab, which probably doubled as a changing room for wearing the lab equipment. You have reached metal table, lockers, to main room, metal table, locker. They're open to main,
Tak ada apa yang menarik.
to lab entrance to the right.
Kita pergi ke sebelah kanan dia.
This room is the largest one.
Oh,
Any operations, experiments, and chemical reactions were carried out here. You have metallic container, paper scraps. Some paper scraps have been left on the floor. Virgil can read the words Raptors, phosphorus 150 milligrams, gunpowder. They seem to be ingredients used for explosives. It's probably what one of the clients of the lab needed. And Raptors seems an esoteric enough name to be only associable with either a person or a gang. Certainly not one of Sin's associates. Virgil thinks that it's better to leave those notes here, because if someone somehow finds them on him, he might accuse him of betrayal. Metallic to main room. Metallic rectangular to main.
Okay, keluar.
You have rate to lab and
Nah, tak ada apa-apa. Keluar.
you to moons. Several race cars are parked here, and some garages and car-related shops have been set up near the perimeter, a clear sign of a meeting place for moonwalk fans. There's also an anonymous single-store red brick building with windows facing the street. You have reached to road to suburbs. Near the beginning of this street, there's an intersection through which a recently made parking lot can be reached. You to suburb, to parking, to hardware store, to 7th, to suburb, to 7th. You have reached 7th Avenue. You have reached the first street. You have reached the first street. You have to downtown center, to First Street, to downtown. You to drugs to First Street, number 19, to 2nd Avenue. You have reached 2nd Avenue, to downtown center, to Main, to 2nd Avenue. You have reached woman to ghetto, to 2nd Avenue, number 20. You have reached hardware store, 2nd Avenue, to 2nd Avenue, to 5th Street, to 2nd Avenue, number 27, to 5th. The condominium in which Virgil lives is on the northern side of the road. It's about 50 meters from the police station. Virgil chose this place because it was the apartment with the best distance from the workplace / price ratio in the area. You have kid. The kid is looking to 5th Street, kid, to Virgil has other to 5th Street, kid, to 2nd Avenue.
Sekian aku lupa. Ya
You have to 5th to 2nd Avenue.
Pergilah.
You have woman on the to ghetto, to 2nd.
Lupa ya.
You bus to 2nd to Main Square, to downtown center. You have to drugstore, to First Street, number.
Aku tahu. Jangan. Ijab Sutra.
You have safe point to bank, to First Street. Newspaper to Club District, to First. You toy shop, to Goddess. Virgil has other to first toy shop, to First. You have reached news to club, to First Street. To Main safe point, to bank, to First Street, to downtown. You to drugs, to First Street, to First.
Okay.
You have cafe, to First Street. You to 7th Avenue.
7th Avenue.
You have tea and coffee to hardware store, to 7th Avenue, numbers to hardware store. This store is kind of spacious and well organized. The owner is a man in his late 50s and greets Virgil when he enters. You have hammer. The hammer is about 50 centimeters long. Carpet hammer. To moons. Hammer. Carpet to moon sit.
Hammer.
You tea and to hardware to 7th Avenue. You safe, old woman. Safe, old to road to to parking lot to hardware store.
Hardware store.
A hardware store just before the entrance to the suburbs. There's a shopkeeper, a man in his 30s. The store is quite disorganized, every corner filled with various drawers containing screws and electronic components, with some left on top of the furniture. You have battery. Virgil sees a car battery on a shelf. He has no need for it. The one in his car is in good to moon battery to moon. The suburbs to parking lot.
Parking lot.
You have rate biker. This to Fontana's house. Fontana's garden is a yellow, inconspicuous rectangular building, probably large enough to fit his car and not much else. There's also a bodyguard standing in front of the shutter, preventing anyone from getting closer. You have reached shrubbery. A bodyguard. Fontana's bodyguard glares to Moon City. Shrubbery bodyguard. Fontana's bodyguard glares to Moon. You have to road to suburb to lab.
Lab.
You have reached trash container. Car. The car is parked. There's no one inside. The car to main room. To trash to main room. You have calendar. The to the left side to lab entrance. Calendar to the left. Metal table. Lockers. Metal locker. They're open. To make metal tape to make. You have to lab enter to the right side. You have metallic container. Metallic rectangle. Metal to make metallic contain to make. You to lab end. You have to moon. You have rate biker to Fontana to lab to road to suburbs. To suburb to parking to hardware to 7th Avenue. You have safe old woman to road to outskirts. You have van. To 7th van to out of town road to northern night.
Oh ya, kena pergi Northern Nightclub.
The place looks like a normal 3-star hotel. It has white walls and a brown marble floor, and it's well lit. As soon as Virgil and Hill enter, they are suddenly attacked by some gangsters coming from the floor above. The two manage to take cover just in time, but must retaliate as best as they can. After they are dealt with, they'll have to look around the place for clues. You have reached. The shootout has begun. Shots on the left. 100% life shots in the middle. He's in great shape. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Enemy defeated. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left. Shots on the right.
Shoot dia.
Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Victory.
Dah. Haha.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap. Reception desk to first floor. The first floor of the hotel has red velvet walls and 3 entrances to rooms can be seen. It's the Love Hotel from last time. You table. To modern room. This bedroom hasn't changed. It has a double bed with white sheets, flat screen OLED TV, a normal bathroom. It's still a room fitting for a 3-star hotel. Bed. TV. To first floor. Bed. To first.
Okay, tak ada apa-apa. Kosong.
To ground. To medieval look. To old-fashioned.
Kat sini ada benda.
The 60s room has been changed slightly. The posters are from different bands this time. You have 60s double bed, open briefcase. 60s double bed to first floor.
Okay, ada benda. Kita dah jumpa.
You to ground to medieval.
Okay, kat sini.
The dungeon room hasn't changed much. A single candle lights the place and is attached to the wall. And there are actually prison bars that delimit what appears to be a cell, which has some handcuffs attached to the wall. Fake metallic cuffs. It appears that briefcase. This briefcase is closed. Fake to first. Fake to first.
Okay.
You to ground floor. You have raked to moons. You have reached outskirt band to to northern night to 7th Avenue, number 16. Virgil managed to collect the money and calls Sin to inform him. Mr. Sin seems...
Okay, kita kena pergi kondo.
Virgil has completed all the tasks assigned to him, but Mr. Sin still doesn't totally trust. You have raked kid to Virgil's...
Kita kena ambil barang.
Virgil's apartment is on the 3rd floor. There's an elevator that can be ridden to get there without effort. You have teenage elevator to 3rd floor. Home sweet home. Virgil's apartment is a studio flat, smaller and cheaper than normal flats. The furniture is minimal, with just a bed, a bookshelf, a small library, mostly containing police files, and a small kitchen corner with a fridge, and the bathroom, of course. Bed, desk, and crescent moon goddess file. Bird, falling moon goddess file. To ground floor.
Okay, dah ambil barang. So, jom kita turun.
You have to Moon City. After closing the door to the apartment complex, the shootout has begun. Shots on the left.
Siapa ni?
Shots in the middle.
Tembak ni.
Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Less than 75% life points. Gets hit. Less than 50% life in the middle. Enemy defeated. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle.
Tembak dia.
Shots in the middle.
Ah,
Shots on the right.
lagi.
Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. Virgil and Hill examine the bodies of their attackers. One could take advantage of the fact that they are new. Virgil thinks of Fontana, one of the most loyal men to Mr. Sin, and also one of the most impulsive. Hill has an idea. Damaging Fontana's precious race car by blaming the goddesses and dismantling one of the Raptors' headquarters by blaming Fontana. With a double diplomatic incident,
Oh, kita nak kena itu eh.
you have Kid to 5th Street, Kid to 2nd Avenue, number...
Aku tahu.
You have hardware store, 2nd Avenue to hardware store. The store has a wave controller in the showcase. The box says that it can hardware. Virgil doesn't second.
Hardware store. Okay, sekarang kita sediakan apa yang perlu.
You have woman on the phone to ghetto to 2nd.
Marilah. Okay.
You have to downtown to main to down.
Mari kita lakukannya.
You to drive to 1st Street. Safe to bank. Safe to 1st Street. Newspaper to Club District to 1st Street. Newspaper to Club District to 1st.
Lakukannya.
You toy shop to got it to 1st Street. Toy shop to 1st Street. To 1st Street.
Oh, salah jalan pula. Aku nak pergi sana.
Newspaper to club.
Aku nak pergi sini. Salah jalan pula.
You have hardware to blip. Hardware. Virgil eyes a screwdriver and some to blip to end of to 1st Street, number 25. Hardware store to 1st.
Cari lagi barang-barang yang perlu. Apa lagi?
You to First Street.
Okay, ikut aku, tak apa. Jangan banyak cakap.
You safe to bank to first to safe to Main Square to down.
Ikut aku.
You to drugstore to First Street. You cafe. Virgil enters the cafe and asks the staff for a ham and cheese sandwich as takeaway. They swiftly bring it to him and wrap it in paper packaging. Virgil pays them and exits the restaurant, holding the sandwich in his hand. To First Street, number 1.
Okay, lagi.
You have teenager to 7th Avenue.
Lagi yang cari.
Tea and coffee shop to hardware store.
Hardware store, kita kena beli benda.
Hammer. The hammer is to carpentry to moon suit.
Di belah dia, hammer. Seterusnya.
Tea to hardware to 7th Avenue.
Jalan lagi.
Safe old woman. Old to road to suburbs.
Jalan lagi.
You to suburb to parking lot to hardware store.
Ada lagi hardware store kedua, kita kena beli benda.
You battery. Virgil sees a to Moon City.
Ya, itulah bateri.
You have to 7th Avenue. You have reached safe old to road to old safe old to out to 7th Avenue to out.
Okey. Jalan lagi.
You ban to out of town road.
Kita ambil pasir pula. Pasir. Mana pasir kita?
You construction piles of sand. Several small piles of sand. Several small outskirts.
Tak payah
To
pasir.
7th Ave to northern to 7th Avenue.
Saya perlu pasir guys. Pelik.
Old woman to road to
Sekarang kita nak defeat bodyguard. Yang penting.
to parking to hardware store to 7th Avenue to suburbs to parking lot.
Okay, ni yang penting guys. Kita kena defeat bodyguard. So, marilah.
You have raped biker to Fontana's house.
Kita defeat dia sekarang.
Bodyguard to Moon bodyguard. The bodyguard has a key in his hand and was. The shootout has begun. Shots on the right. Shots on the right.
Ambil ni.
Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left.
Ambil ni.
Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the left.
Ambil tu.
Shots in the middle.
Ambil tu.
Shots on the right.
Ambil tu.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. The garage is slightly larger than it seemed,
Gerak ya.
and there's about 2 meters of distance between the car and the walls, barring 2 tables with papers and tools on them. It appears that Fontana does the maintenance on his car himself.
Fontana.
Wrench. This can be used. Table. To Fontana's home guard. Fontana's precious table. Poster. Table. Post. And old. To Fontana's car. To
Oh, tu untuk untuk
To Fontana's garage.
kenapa aku masuk balik?
You have raped to Fontana's. You have to Moon's.
Tahu guys, itu untuk gali pasir kot.
You have biker to Fontana to left to road to suburbs. Biker to road
To road to suburbs. To road to suburbs.
to parking to hard to 7th Avenue.
Okay, seterusnya kita pergi cari pasir. Mana pasir tadi?
You old to road to old to road to outskirts.
Seterusnya kita kena ambil pasir. Mana pasir?
You ban to out of to northern night to out of
Ni pasir.
construction piles of. Virgil has an idea. construct town.
Okay, so dia dapat idea. Dia ambil pasir. Dan marilah kita pergi
You have
ke
reached 7th
apartmennya sekarang.
to 7th Avenue. The first street.
Marilah ikut aku.
To First Street. You have to downtown center. To drive to first. Safe. You say to bank to first. News to club to first. You have toy shop to got it. The apartment where Sin told Virgil that the goddess lives. It's a single isolated house, not part of any complex or building, with a small garden before the entrance, with a few flowers planted in it. The house itself doesn't look big, but appears to have been designed by an eccentric architect. Its edges have sharp angles and weird shapes. You have a bronze statue. Nearby park, having all the tools necessary. Guard. This guard has to be taken out of commission.
Okay, nak lawan dia.
The shoot. Virgil uses a medicine. Feels invigorated. Shots in the middle.
Oh, lagu kat
on the
lab
left.
Dia pakai lagu kat lab.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Less than 75% life points. Shots in the middle. He's a little stunned. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit.
Oh, sorry.
Shots in the middle. Less than 50% life points. He begins to falter. Shots on the right. Virgil gets hit. Swipe left to load the last save game.
Aku mati guys.
You have reached save to bank to First Street. You have news to Club District to First.
Aku mati guys. Guard tu buat aku mati.
You toys to Goddess. The apartment where Sin told Virgil that the goddess lives. It's a single isolated house, not part of any complex or building, with a small garden before the entrance, with a few flowers planted in it. The house itself doesn't look big, but appears to have been designed by an eccentric architect. Its edges have sharp angles and weird shapes. Nearby park entrance door. Nearby park having all the guard. The shootout has begun. Shots in the middle. 100% life points. On the right. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. 100% life points. In the middle. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left. Shots less than 75% life points. He's a little stunned. Shots in the middle. 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 Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Less than 75% life points. Shots on the right. He's victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets a medicine. Double tap to bronze entrance to Moon City. Entrance. Virgil uses his tools to disable the alarm first.
Cantik.
The foyer and the other rooms have smooth white marble floors and gray rough walls. There's a coat hanger near the entrance door and a painting at its left. You have Sin's portrait. Virgil to lounge. Sin's portrait to lounge. Sin to goddess to lounge. Sin's portrait to lounge.
Oh, lounge. Lounge.
An old-style lounge that seems to have come right out of the 80s. It's where some meetings with important clients are probably held. There's a corner dedicated to alcoholic beverages, a dining table, and some sofas. You have lounge furniture, an old-looking cup to lounge crescent moon trinkets. On top of a small table in the room, there are some trinkets that look similar to the ones that have been mentioned in the goddess file found in Virgil's room. Virgil takes one of them, thinking it might be useful sometime in the future. to foyer, the core cabinet to lounge furniture to the core a wooden lounge to foyer.
Okay, seterusnya kita pergi studio.
You have to go to studio. A studio illuminated by a semi-spherical lamp on the ceiling, about 5 meters above the floor. The walls have a red and black chest-like pattern, and the wall is black marble. There's just a desk and a pair of armchairs. Black marble desk. A black falling moon trinket. On top of the desk, black marble desk. To foyer. Black to foyer.
Ui, dapat benda kan.
You have to goddess. You have to moon ship.
Seterusnya kita ke raptor kan.
Virgil and Hill leave the apartment and head for the car. Hill notices that 2 women are moving in their direction. The policeman recognizes them. They are the goddesses. The 2 run in an alley so as not to be discovered. Virgil notices the 2 criminals who pass in front of the dark alley without noticing him and Hill. He hears them talking about the assassination of Almanan, how they think Fontana did it out of envy. In a moment, the policeman remembers the murder committed, the death of Almanan that he caused to approach Mr. Sin. But it is only a moment. He cannot abandon himself to memories. Now, there is only Sin. By now, the goddesses are no longer seen. Hill and Virgil take... You have reached Biker, to Fontana's house, to lab, to road to suburbs.
Kena ke raptor kan. Okay.
To parking lot, to hardware, to 7th Avenue.
Jom kita ke raptor. Raptor has quarter.
You have reached 7th Avenue.
Ikut aku. Kita ke sana.
You have the first. You have the first street.
Kita ke raptor.
You have to downtown center. You to drug the first street. Safe to bank. Safe to first street number. News to club to first street. You have toy shop to goddesses to first street. You have reached save point. You scan to first.
Yes, so kita kena ke raptor.
You to east to first street to East Road. You combat snake to raptor. Virgil has other business to take care of. Doesn't need to go there now. To first combat. To first.
Kita kena ke mana guys?
You to first street. You to second street. To first street. You have reached toy shop to goddesses to first to goddess to first toy shop to first. News to club to first news to first.
Mana ni guys?
You to main square to downtown center.
Main square.
You to drugs to first street. You have reached cafe to first street cafe. Virgil doesn't need to go into the cafe to first. You have reached teenager to 7th Avenue. T&C to hardware store to 7th. Old woman to road to suburb.
So road to suburbs.
To suburbs to parking to hardware to parking. You have biker to Fontana's house. You have reached shrubbery to Moon City to Fontana's girl. You have Fontana's car. Virgil gets to work.
Whoa.
The wheels get removed, the battery drained, the motor oil tainted, and the car body violently deformed. Satisfied with his work, Virgil leaves the tools on the ground. Next stop, the Raptors HQ on the eastern part of town, near the desert.
Baru lagi raptor. Guys,
Poster to Fontaine. Table to
kejut lah guys. Tiba-tiba bergerak benda tu.
Fontaine to Moon.
Baru lagi raptor. Okay, sekarang kita pergi raptor
You have to road to sub to lab to road.
Raptor. Mana raptor? Mana raptor? Mana raptor?
You to 7th Avenue.
Ni apa yang gerak tadi?
You have to 7th Avenue. You have the first street. You have the first street. You to downtown center.
Okay guys.
You have to drug the first.
Laju aku buat guys.
Safe to bank to first. You news to club to first. You toys to goddesses to first. You have rate safe. You cat to first. You have reached to East Road. You have
Dan
reached the
Raptor.
first street to Raptors.
Raptors.
The building that functions as the headquarters for the Raptor gang is an old farmhouse located a bit outside the city. It is quite spacious and has room for a garage, which is guarded by some men around its perimeter, which makes it difficult to reach from the outside. The majority of the guards seem to be outside. You have reached Raptors HQ Home Garden. Wheatfield. Guard. The shootout has begun. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the right. Less than 75% life points. Shots in the middle. Virgil feels invigorated. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Less than 25% life points. Careful. Less than 25%. Virgil. Shots on the left. He recovers. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left.
Tak kena.
Shots on the right.
Keluar. Bawa keluar.
Shots on the right. Shots on the right.
Kau reload lagi.
Shots on the left.
Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Tembak. Alah. Tak keluar.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Virgil gets hit.
Adui.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the right.
Okay.
Shots on the right. He's again in good shape. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right.
Boleh shoot.
Shots on the left.
Boleh.
Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Victory.
Dah. Selamat.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap to continue. Wheatfield to Raptors head. To Moose. Wheatfield to Raptors headquarters foyer. The foyer leads immediately to the right. Farther in that direction, a small room can be seen with its door open. You have couch. A red guard. The shootout has begun. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle.
Tembak dia.
Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Tembak. Dah habis peluru.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Lagi. Oh.
Shots on the right.
Ambil ni.
Shots on the left.
Ambil ni. Oh, habis peluru.
Shots on the right.
Ambil ni.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit.
Aduh.
Shots on the right.
Ambil
Victory.
ni. Ambil tu. Mati tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap. Couch to Raptor's office. To Raptor's HQ home garden. Couch to Raptor's.
Oh, ada office ni. Wow.
The small room is an office with some staircases leading down, presumably to the garage. Halogen lamp. A halogen lamp guard. The shootout has begun. Less than 75% life points. He's a little stunned. Virgil uses a feels the energy flowing through his body again. Shots on the left.
Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Tembak. Habis peluru. Reload.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Reload.
Shots on the left.
Dot. Reload. Reload.
Shots on the left.
Dot. Tembak. Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Dot. Tembak. Tak kena.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Reload.
Virgil gets hit.
Aduh.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Dot. Tembak. Reload.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Dot. Tembak. Cek kesihatan.
Less than 75% life points.
Dot. Tembak.
He's a little stunned. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil. Halogen lamp to Raptor's garage. To Raptor's headquarters desk in the office. Desk in the office. Virgil leaves Fontana's erasing symbol in the studio. To halogen lamp to Raptor's garage. To Raptor's garage.
Ada garage.
Inside the garage is only the Raptor's car with the keys on a table nearby. Time to ride.
Oh.
You have field outside the garage. Virgil can see Raptor's car. To Raptor's field. Raptor's car. Virgil gets in the car and turns it on, and then gets out of the garage with it. Some Raptors members were prepared and start chasing him in their own cars.
Alamak, dikejar.
Get ready. Start in 3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
Obstacle on the left. Obstacle on the right. Obstacle in the center. Obstacle on the right. Left turn incoming.
Lari, lari.
Turn completed. Center. Left turn incoming.
Alamak, lari. Raptor punya member dah kejar.
Turn completed. Right. Right. Right turn incoming.
Baik, kita lari. Berangin tu.
Track completed at 50%. Center. Left turn incoming. Turn completed. Center. Center. Left. Left. Right turn incoming. Turn completed. Left. Center. Right. Center. Right turn incoming.
Sebaik dapat. Elok.
Turn completed. Center. Escape is over. Virgil successfully escaped. Virgil receives a call from Sin. It seems that the world has gone completely mad, says Mr. Sin. The boss has a worried voice. It is the first time that he feels danger and is not used to it. The cop in Hill's plan is working. Sin tells him that Fontana and the goddesses have started to quarrel violently, accusing each other of things that even he has not understood well. But one thing is clear. He can no longer trust anyone. Plus, it appears that the New City gangs are preparing a riot, or something. Sin claims that there is no time left and entrusts Virgil with what was formerly the goddesses, the Craters. his personal and secret drug production center, the main source of his earnings. The boss tells him to drive to the desert and that he will send him precise coordinates. After leaving Moon City, and after a few minutes in which he sees only sand, Virgil arrives at the point indicated by Sin, with some dilapidated hovels which seem abandoned. He has just arrived at the craters.
Okay. So kita kena pergi ke crater.
You have reached save point. You save the Virgil's car. Virgil still has some investigate to Crater's foyer. Save point. Virgil's to Crater's foyer. Crater's foyer is a semi-spherical room with 3 tunnels to go to. From a nearby sign, Virgil realizes that each tunnel leads to a sector, and each one is specialized in the production of something different. The nearest, Sector 2, has its entrance blocked by a guard. To left entrance.
Okay. Sebaik tak akan tembak.
Some researchers and security cameras can be seen every now and then in the halls of the craters. The tunnel goes straight, but will turn right soon. Energy generator. And enter to west corner. And enter to Crater's foyer. Energy generator to west.
Oh, lagu
Some
dia.
lockers can be seen in the corner. They're just a few, probably for the personal belongings of the employees. Lockers. Some to corridor. To left lockers. To
Oh, ada koridor.
a long corridor, semi-spherical like the others. Sector 1 is way farther than the other 2 sectors. Is there a reason for that? In any case, a guard appears to be guarding the entrance to the lab at the end of the corridor. You have guard. A man in the engineering lab. The guard gives us to west guard. To engineering to west guard. To what?
Okay, depan ni kita kena tekan mesin guys. Nanti dia
You
akan
have
bunyi wek
reached
wek 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 wek.
lockers.
Macam
To
tu.
left.
Kau dengar nanti dia bunyi. Macam wek 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 je lah.
You have energy generator. Virgil.
Ha tu. Ha tu lah bunyi.
Craters full.
Wek 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 wek. Macam tu bunyi dia guys.
You
Ada
have
satu lagi.
reached guard. To left end to sector 2. The guard gives us to right entrance.
Lagi kita kena tekan kat sebelah kanan.
Some researchers and security cameras can be seen every now and then in the halls of the craters. The tunnel goes straight, but will turn left in a dozen meters.
Lawak tau bunyi mesin ni guys.
You have researcher. Security camera. To east corner. To craters full. To east.
Wek wek wek.
There's a machine that can be seen in the corner that looks different from the others. More like a control panel than anything. There are also no cameras. Weird. Energy generator. Energy gen. Virgil. To right entrance. To sector 3.
Ayo.
To right entrance. To sector 3. Sector 3 appears to be regulated to the cultivation of hemp and production of weed. There's a sliding door that leads to a greenhouse adjacent to the room, the insides of which can be seen from this room. Windows facing a clear research notes. Some notes to east corner. Windows to east.
Okay. Oh, tekan mesin.
You have to right it to sector 3. To right.
So, tekan mesin.
You research security to east to craters foyer.
Tekan mesin.
To parking to right end to sector 2.
Boleh beli dah sektor tu.
Sector 2 is where cocaine is produced and refined. There are several machines, but one in front of the other, and some employees are overseeing the whole production.
Tekan lah.
They're wearing hazmat suits, which probably have a filter on to avoid inhaling fumes from the machinery. Machinery refined. A machine which to craters full. Machinery to crate.
So, maknanya kita kena pergi
You
lab.
have reached to right to sector 2 to left.
Masa aku lab ni guys. Engineering lab.
You have reached to crate to west corner.
Jom, kita pergi sana. Kita dah tekan mesin dua
You
kali.
have reached to left corridor to left entrance to
Buka atur dua kali. Tak banyak. Nanti mulut rosak.
You have to west engineering lab.
Okay, dah boleh masuk. Jom.
Several machines and blueprints can be seen around this room.
Ada mesin.
It almost looks like a garage and not a drug production plant. Researchers talking to Sector 1. Researchers to researchers to Sector 1 to corridor. Researchers to Sector 1. Sector 1 is dedicated to the production of SLSD, which is quite rare nowadays. Since the drug is a more potent synthetic derivative of LSD, the presence of nearby machinery is explained, and the distance from the other sectors and extra security must be because the goods produced here are more precious than the other ones. Some young researchers are discussing things with an older superior of theirs, likely the head researcher of the sector. You have research notes. Researcher. To engineering lab. Research note.
Kira tak ada apa.
To corridor.
Kami
You have
same.
to west corner. You to left entrance. You have reached to crater's foot. You have reached to parking lot to left.
Oh, bukan tu.
You have reached to crater's foyer
Tengok parking lot.
to left to sector 2 to right entrance to parking lot to left to park.
Parking lot.
The craters are a complex of semi-spherical warehouses, 3 in total, linked to each other by semi-spherical tunnels. The whole structure is beige in color, probably to camouflage the buildings with the sand of the desert. There's a parking lot outside with a few cars parked in it. There's plenty of room today. Virgil gets out of the car and heads towards the entrance, which is a pair of automatic glass sliding doors. You have reached Safe Point. You see Virgil's car. Virgil still has some investigating to Crater's foyer. Safe Point. Virgil's car. Safe Point to Crater's foyer. Virgil's car. Virgil still has some investigating to do here. He thinks that he must take advantage of this opportunity and get as much information as possible about the infamous craters. He'll likely not have another opportunity. Safe Point to Crater's foyer. Virgil's car. To Crater's. Safe Point. Virgil's car. Safe. You save the game. To Crater's foyer. You have reached to left entrance to sector 2 to right entrance to parking lot to left entrance to
Parking lot.
You have reached Safe Point. Virgil's car. Virgil still has some Virgil to Crater's Safe Point. Virgil's safe. You save to Crater
Crater.
to left end to sector to left. You have reached to west corner to Craters to west corner to Crater. You have to parking lot to right entrance. Researcher. The researcher can security camera. The security camera to east corner to Crater's foot to east. You have to sector 3 to right entrance to sector 3.
Sector 3.
Windows facing clear window. Research notes. Some notes regarding to east corner windows deep. You have reached to right entrance to sector right to Crater's foyer. You have reached to left entrance to sector 2. You have machinery refining a machine which from one to create machinery to create.
Machinery. Mesin.
You have the left entrance.
Apa lagi guys?
You to west corner to west corner. Lockers. Some of these to corridor to left lockers to You have to engineering lab to what to engineering lab. You have researchers talking to each other. 2 researchers are talking among themselves. 2 research to sector 1 to corridor. Researchers to sector 1.
Sector 1.
Research notes. It says that researcher to engineering research. This is the head research to engineering to engine. You have to corridor. You have reached to west corner. You have reached the left entrance. You have to Crater's foyer to west corner to Crater's to west corner to Crater. You have to left to sector to right entrance to parking lot. You have save point. Virgil's car. Save. Virgil to craters. Save point. Virgil's car. Having seen most of the facility, you have reached 5th Street. No. Save point to 5th Street. Used to fit to Moon City.
Oh ya, kena pergi stesen polis guys.
The main hall of the police station. In contrast to Fox's office, it's completely gray and has no discernible features, and there is no furniture. Just doors to the offices. You the corridor to Virgil's office, to Fox's. Fox is talking with Mayor Bellot, which is the person Virgil suspects most to be Sin, and thus the person he wants to see the least. They turn to face Virgil when he enters the room. Window. Planned. Mayor below. Commissioner Fox. Virgil tries telling Fox that he has important news to tell him, but he dismisses him. He tells Virgil that the mayor has been visiting the police station and wishes to speak with Virgil. He wonders why, since he has never had anything to do with him. It sounds very suspicious. To main hall. Mayor below. Virgil asks Mayor Bellot what is the reason for his visit to the police station. He answers that he's here to discuss some things with Fox about some things he's been informed of regarding Sin's activities. Virgil begins to tell Fox his findings at the craters, but he seems uninterested and not particularly impressed. Bellot tells Virgil that Fox told him what he was doing, and that he was very impressed by how much he penetrated into the criminal underground of Moon City. Virgil thanks him, but he stops mid-sentence. He suddenly feels very weak, and he falls to the floor. He realizes that he's been hit very hard by someone on the back of his neck, and he's being held and transported away by two muscular men in black suits that don't belong to the police force. The last thing Virgil hears before passing out is the mayor. He's telling Fox that Virgil has run out his usefulness as a fake undercover agent, that he has video evidence of him causing mayhem in the craters, and he's going to deal with him now. Virgil wakes up and finds himself in a cell. In front of him is Sin with his mask and a boy in a police suit, probably a corrupt one. Sin takes off his mask. Virgil is appalled when he sees that his face is that of Bellot himself, the mayor of Moon City. Bellot found out that Virgil is an undercover agent. He is furious. He has always hated spies. But he will not immediately kill the policeman. First, he will torture him. He leaves Virgil alone with the man. The corrupt man begins to beat Virgil wildly, so violently that the chair in which the policeman is tied to falls, loosening the ropes that block his wrists. The man does not have time to draw a gun. Virgil feels the adrenaline. He must survive, even if it's just for Hill. With a rapid movement, he strangles the man. Now he has nothing else to do. Escape from prison and destroy Mr. Sin's empire, once and for all. You have reached cell. Save point. You saved guard's corpse. Virgil searches the torturer's body and finds a gun. He takes it with him, but it doesn't have any bullets. He has to look for them. Cell's key. The guard lost his to dungeon's corridor. Save point. Guard's cell's key. Guard's save point. Guard's corpse. Virgil doesn't need any. Cell's key. Virgil to dungeon's core. Save point. You save to Virgil uses the cell key to open. The walls and the floor outside the cell are dark gray, kind of dirty, and about 3 meters tall and wide, respectively. There are 2 more cells adjacent to the cell Virgil was being kept in, but no one is in them. The corridor, which is rectangular in shape, extends left and right. You clipboard. There's nothing to Sin's villa left to torture room. To cell. Clipboard. To Sin's villa left wing. To
Torture room. Biasanya
the room, which is dimly lit by a neon ceiling light. There's no one inside, and the room has nothing but a table in the middle and various sharp objects attached to the wall. It almost looks medieval in nature. Virgil is disgusted and doesn't want to stay here more than necessary. You have reached bloody torture table. A metallic table with a pack of bullets. This kind of bullet can be used with a bloody torture table. The dungeon's bloody.
Tu ada blue.
You clipboard to Sin's villa.
Since villa.
A small 5 by 5 meter room with golden walls and a red square carpet on the floor. There are two wooden doors. The one in front is larger than the one on the left. Given the decor of the room and the direction he's come from, Virgil thinks he's out of the dungeons and has entered the left wing of Sin's villa. On the right, there's a window, with a guard looking outside, who hasn't noticed Virgil's presence yet. You have reached, guard. Virgil sneaks up on the vase contains about to bath flower vase, to dungeon's corridor, to dining room, to bathroom, flower vase, to dining room,
Rasa dekat dining
a dining room, about 10 meters long and 7 meters wide, with an oval wooden table almost as long at the center. The walls are yellow gold, kinda garish. The windows face outside. From the lighting, Virgil realizes it's evening. You have reached fireplace. To Sin's villa, fireplace. An empty fireplace lies on to Sin's villa, foyer. To Sin's villa, left wing. Fireplace. To Sin's
Ada foyer.
the entrance to the villa. At the right is the garden, at the entrance, and some cars are there unattended. At the left is the rest of the mansion, a very long red carpet at the floor leading the way forward. The walls are yellow gold, like the dining room. Virgil has no intention of running away now. You have reached coat hanger. A coat hanger. A coat to Sin's villa, intersection 1, to moons, to dining room. Coat hanger. To Sin's villa, intersection 1, to moon. Virgil refuses to leave. To Sin's villa, to dining room.
Aku rasa kita kena cari benda lagi.
You fireplace. To Sin's villa, to Sin's fireplace. An empty fire. To Sin's
Kita masuk tandas. Ya, kita tak masuk tandas.
flower vase. To bathroom.
Mana kita tahu ada apa kat tandas.
A normal bathroom with a floor and walls that have light blue square relief patterns. There are some bathroom stalls, and there's a pack of something resting on the singular sink in the room.
Apa tu?
Bathroom stalls. Pack of bullets. This kind of bullet can be used with the guards. Bathroom stalls. 4 bathroom. To Sin's villa. Bathroom. To Sin's.
Ya. Ada peluru.
You have a flower vase. To bathroom. To dine.
Aku rasa sekarang kita boleh pergi.
You have reached fireplace. And to Sin's.
Harap boleh pergi ya guys. Ya.
You have coat hanger. Okay. To Sin's villa.
Boleh.
The gangster's in the way. Virgil thinks that if he follows the direction they are coming from, they'll bring him to Bella. He has no time to waste wandering around the mansion. The longer he waits, the more reinforcements are likely to come. You have reached Sin's villa, intersection 1. Save point. You save the 1 gangster. The shootout has begun. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left.
Dodge. Tembak. Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Dodge.
Shots on
Reload.
the right.
Dodge. Reload.
Shots in the middle.
Dodge. Reload. Reload.
Shots on the right.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Dodge. Tembak. Tembak.
Shots in the Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Dodge. Reload.
Shots in the middle.
Dodge. Reload.
Shots on the Virgil gets hit. Less than 75% life points. Shots on the right. He's a little stunned. Shots in the middle.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots
Tembak.
on the left.
Dodge. Reload.
Shots on the left.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots on the left.
Dodge. Tembak.
Shots on Virgil gets hit.
Aduh.
Shots on the left. Shots less in than the 50% life points. He begins to falter. Shots on the right. Yes, Virgil uses shots in the middle. He feels the energy flowing through his body. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle.
Ding, 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 ding.
Shots in the middle.
Ding, 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 ding.
Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left.
Tembak dah.
Shots on the
Tembak.
right.
Tembak si gangster ni.
Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap. Save point. You save corridor. To Sin's villa. Intersection 2. To Sin's villa. Safe corridor. The corridor. To Sin.
Okay, di sana juga ada gangster. Banyak
2 more gangsters are in the way, coming from ahead. Virgil just keeps going forward. You have gangsters. The shootout has begun. 100% life points. Shots in great shape. Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Virgil gets hit. Shots in the middle.
Tembak.
Shots on the left. Virgil gets hit.
Tembak.
Shots on the right.
Tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Dot tembak.
Shots in the middle.
Dot tembak.
Shots on the left. Less than 75% life Shots on points. the right. He's a little stunned. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left.
Oh, dia
Shots on the
bertahan.
right.
Dia masih tahan.
Shots in the middle. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets bathroom. Descends Villa. Inner bathroom. There seems to be Descends Villa. Intersection. Bathroom. Descends.
Ada lagi gangster. Jangan ingat tak ada.
Two more gangsters show up ahead. Virgil is beginning to feel tired, but is ready to dispose of them. You have two gangsters. The shootout has begun. Shots on the right.
Oh, dia orang
on the
pakai
right.
pistol pula. Tadi dia orang pakai pistol
Shots on the
lain.
right.
Sekarang dia orang pakai pistol.
Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Less than 75% life points. He's a little stunned. Left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right.
Tom.
Shots on the left.
Shot in the middle.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the right.
Shot in the middle.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the right.
Shot in the middle. Oh, habis.
Shots on the right. Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots in the middle.
Sebab aku tengok depan je. Tahu aku cakap ni.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the left.
Shot in the middle. Oh, tak kena.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots in the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the left.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the left.
Shot. Shot in the
Shots in
middle.
the middle.
Shot.
Virgil gets hit.
Aduh.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit.
Ah. Mati.
Swipe left to load the last save game. You have reached safe corridor. Descends Villa. Descends Villa foyer. Descend. Two more gangsters are in the way, coming from ahead. Virgil just
Sorry,
keeps
guys,
going
sorry.
forward. You have reached gangsters. The shootout has begun. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle.
Shot
on
in
the
the
right.
middle. Shot.
Virgil gets hit. Shots on the right.
Ah, shot in the
Shots in
middle.
the middle.
Shot in the middle.
Shots on the left.
Boom.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Less than 75% life points. He's a little stunned. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right.
Ambil tu.
Enemy defeated. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the
Power.
left.
Oh.
Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the right.
Ambil tu.
Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Victory. Virgil gets a med. Double tap to Sins Villa intersection. Two more gangsters show up ahead. Virgil's beginning to feel tired, but is ready to dispose of them. You have two gangsters. The shootout. Virgil uses a med. Shots. He feels invigorated. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right.
Apalah. Dia bakal lagi
Shots on the
kat
right.
left.
Shots on the 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. He has no more shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. 100% life points. He's in great shape. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle.
Salah swipe like.
Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. Up my table. A gift to Sin's villa. 3 gangsters are in front of a big black door. It's probably Sin's bedroom or studio or something like that. Virgil has the feeling that he's almost done with all this and prepares for combat, trying to ignore the stress and fatigue built up until now. You 3 gangsters. The shootout has begun. Less than 50% life in the middle. He begins to falter. Shots in the right. Shots in the middle. Virgil gets hit. Less than 10% life points in the middle. He's near to death. It is urgent to get healed. Shots in the middle. He has Virgil. Shots in the middle. He's again in good. Shots on the right.
Menu karet. Fluid driver 2 oli, pertuturan tidak aktif.
Shots on the right. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the less than 50% life points. He begins to falter. Shots in the middle. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots on the left. Shots in the middle. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Shots on the right. Victory.
Ambil tu.
Virgil gets some medicine. Double tap to continue. Door to Sin's studio. To Sin's villa. Door to Sin's door. Behind this door to Sin's.
Ada apa yang kat studio?
A small 5x5 room with black marble walls and ceiling, and a white marble desk with a white leathery armchair behind it. There are some extremely gaudy decorations, but Virgil has his attention fixated on the center of the room. There is Mayor Bellet himself, looking angrily at Virgil with a gun in hand. The time has finally come to bring him to justice, as the fake politician who tested Virgil some days ago put it. You have below. Golden statue. And Below's portrait. To Sin's Below's portrait. Since the golden statue. Just below. Belot starts shooting, but he's laughably unskilled with the gun and shoots at Virgil 3 times, missing each shot. Virgil, unfazed, pulls out the guard's gun and shoots him. He hits him near the heart, and he falls to the floor, losing the grip on his gun, which falls a few meters away. He then starts grumbling about how he doesn't want to die now that he's gone this far already. Virgil, realizing that Bellet doesn't have other weapons on him, listens, pointing his gun at him, and keeping an eye on the door, making sure no one enters. Bellet tells Virgil that he finally found his daughter, which he had with a mistress more than 20 years ago, and can give his empire to her. Virgil asks him who his daughter is. The mayor responds that he found out recently, thanks to some commissioned investigative work, that she was working for him and that her name was Hill. Virgil can't believe this, and he tells him that he knows Hill personally and she hates him. Bellet appears saddened, but says that he is not surprised and that he would have cared for her if he knew earlier. He knows he's going to die soon and asks Virgil to finish him off. Virgil shoots the boss, dead, and falls on his knees, the weight of the situation finally sinking in. After a while, he gets on his feet, and he realizes that Hill has to be informed as soon as possible and taken to a safe place, away from all this. He gets extremely worried and starts heading towards the entrance, never looking back. Below's portrait, to Sin's villa, intersect golden statue, to Sin. You have reached door to Sin's villa.
Habis semua.
You have reached to Sin. Bathroom to Sin.
Save point.
You have reached save point. Safe to Sin's villa. You have to dining room to Moon City. Having finally exacted his vengeance, but worried about Hill, Virgil immediately exits the building and steals one of the cars near the entrance. He recognizes the landscape he can see from the villa, and thus knows how far from Moon City he is, and starts heading towards it. Virgil wants to get in contact with Hill as soon as possible, and asks her if she really is Sin's daughter. If she is, he has to put her under a witness protection program, but certainly not in Moon City. They'll have to run away in another city, maybe in another state, to ensure her safety. Virgil doesn't want to think about how he's going to achieve this without getting caught by Sin-related gangsters. He thinks he'll figure something out somehow. After about 20 minutes of tireless driving, Virgil arrives in front of his apartment in Moon City. Virgil returns to Moon City and meets Hill. The girl has no idea that she was the boss's daughter, but she is sincere with him and tells him that it is completely indifferent to her. She had already given up her real parents for dead, and this will not change anything. All she wants is to run away from Moon City, from the horror of a city that is corrupt to the core, and she wants to do it with Virgil. At that moment, some policemen show up and arrest her. As Mr. Sin's daughter, they want to use her as a scapegoat. Virgil has time to promise that he will do everything he can to get her out of trouble. The policeman begins to draw up a plan, but he needs a very fast car to make it happen, which is not registered. He has heard of a mechanic to the east who's a real car wizard, and then he will also need a weapon, more reliable than his, and he has only one friend left in town to ask such a favor. The drug dealer who passed him the stuff to relieve the pain of his father. He hopes it's really the last time he needs him. You kid to Virgil to 2nd to 5th Street kid to 5th to 2nd Avenue number 20.
Kita kena bawa ke mekanik. Kita kena jumpa mekanik.
You have hardware store 2nd Avenue to 2nd Avenue number 27. Homeless to 2nd Avenue trusted drug dealer. The drug dealer homeless man to 2nd Avenue to 2nd Avenue number 34. Save point to 2nd safe to 11th Street to 11th trash can to 11th.
Harbor Garage.
You have tonight to 2nd Avenue to Harbor Garage. Virgil has other business to 2nd Avenue. You trash can to 11th to 2nd. You to 2nd to 2nd to 2nd. Hardware 2nd to 2nd Avenue 2nd.
Kita kena bawa sini.
Woman on the to ghetto to 2nd Avenue number 6. You have to downtown to Main Square to down. You have to drugs to first. sit to bank to first to sit to bank to First Street, number 20. You have news to Club District to first. You toy shop to Goddesses to first. You save cat to First Street, number 50. You have taste to First Street out of town.
But garage.
An out of town straight street. The desert can be seen at the left while the ocean is barely visible on the right when rocks or trees aren't in the way. Another mechanic, more reliable than the one deep into Sin's moonwalk business, has a garage somewhere along this road. You cactus to mechanic school. Isolated along the desert road stands a 10 by 10 meter garage at the side of the road. There's just one person inside. A young, bespectacled guy wearing a jean overall and white t-shirt in his late 20s. Several trophies are being shown on a display for racing engineering competitions. This person is famous for being very good, but also very experimental. A weirdo, living almost in the middle of the desert with an artistic approach to car modifications. He doesn't mind not being paid. The satisfaction of working on a new car project is enough for him. He gets his money from winning awards and collaborating with car brands anyway. Virgil parks his car inside the garage and the mechanic greets him. Mechanic. Virgil explains that he has to make his Virgil's car. The mechanic studies Virgil's out of town road. Mechanic out of town road. You to Moon City. To East Road to First Street. Out to First.
Buat lain lu.
Save point. Cat. To First Street. Number to First Street. No, to sec to First. You toy shit to Goddesses to First Street.
Ikut guys, adalah aku nak bawa korang.
You news to Club District to First Street. You save to bank to First to downtown center. You to drugs to First. Cafe to First Street. You have rate to 7th Avenue. You have tea to hardware store to 7th. Safe old woman. Old to road to outskirts. You have reached to 7th Avenue, van, to out of town, to northern night, to 7th Avenue, to out of town. You have reached to outskirts, construction site, to facilities, to outskirts, to tumbleweed, to outskirts mansion, to near the to out of town road, to warehouses garage. Calling this a garage is generous. It's more like a very small warehouse. It's empty and has the same kind of walls of the warehouses. There's just a car and a dude way in the back who is waving at Virgil, holding a small mechanical piece in his hand. You have rate garage owner. Garage owner. To moon, worn car. To moon, sit, worn car. An old car. To moon. You have rate to warehouses to out of town road.
Okay, station seterusnya.
You to outskirts.
Okay, inilah stesen seterusnya.
You to 7th Avenue. You have reached to 7th Avenue.
Mener owner.
You have the First Street. You to First Street.
Okay, inilah stesen
You have Street Rider to downtown center.
apa ni?
Street Rider. Virgil asks the street rider if he has any spare solvent. He, a man in his early 20s, cafe to First Street to down cafe to down.
Ya, apa tadi? Terkejut saya.
You have reached to drugs to First Street to Second Avenue. Bus stop to downtown to Second Avenue. You have reached woman on to Second Avenue, number 20. You have hardware store to 5th Street, number 9 to Second Avenue. To Second Avenue. Safe point to Second Avenue. To 11th Street. To 11th Street.
Okay, hampir sampai stesen berikutnya.
To Second Avenue. To Harbor Garage.
Inilah dia stesen yang berikutnya.
This garage is in bad shape and kind of dirty. It's spacious, and a pair of cars are parked inside, with a pair of mechanics each working on each one. Another mechanic there, but he's not busy doing anything. He's a young man in his early 30s, wearing jeans and a tank top, and he's slightly dirty with grease oil. He somehow recognizes Virgil and calls out to him. You have Rick, garage owner. You have Rick to Harbor Garage, to nightclub, to Second Avenue.
Nightclub.
You have reached trash can to 11th Street to 11 to
Sekarang kita cuba balik.
homeless to second hardware Second Avenue to 5th Street to Second Avenue You woman on the phone to get up to Second Avenue You have bus stop to Second to Main Square to downtown. You to drugstore to First Street to First. Safe to bank to First to you save the game to First Street number. News to club to First. Toy shop to Goddess to First. You up to second save point cat. Save you save the to sec to First. You taste to first taste rough chat. You have connected to mechanic. You mechanic. Virgil doesn't have all the things a mechanic needs yet. There should be some mechanics near the harbor and in the east and north parts of the city, and street riders in downtown. Virgil doesn't have all the things a mechanic needs yet. There should be some mechanics near the harbor and in the east and north parts of the city, and street riders in downtown. Virgil doesn't have all the things the mechanic studies Virgil doesn't have all the things a mechanic needs yet. There should be some mechanics near the harbor and in the east and north parts of the city, and street riders in downtown. Tout Virgil's car. Tout. You have reached to Moon City. You have reached to East Road, to First Street, number out of town to First Street.
Raptor.
You have save point, cat, to First Street. You have to First Toy Shop, to got it to First Street. You have reached to First Street. Newspaper seller to club to First Street. You have reached to Main Save Point to Bank to First Street to Downtown Center. You have to drugs to Second Avenue to First to drugstore to First Street to Second Avenue. You have bus stop to Downtown Center to Main to bus stop to Second. You have rate woman on the phone to Second Avenue. Woman to ghetto to Second Avenue. You have to 5th Street Hardware Store to 5th Hardware 2nd Avenue to 2nd Avenue, number 27. You have homeless man. The homeless person asks for to 2nd homeless man to 2nd Avenue. You safe to 2nd Avenue to 11th Street to 11th trash can safe point trash can. The trash has been safe to 2nd Avenue to 11th Street, number 1. You have rate to night to sec to Harbor to nightclub to Harbor. You have reached harpoon. A harpoon has been attached to the wall. It's either a decoration or a leftover from the business that was set up in this room before this garage opened. Virgil thinks it's most likely the former. To moon. Harpoon to moon. You have tonight to 2nd Avenue. You have safe to 2nd safe to sec to 11th Street. You have reached guards to Harbor to 2nd Avenue to open guards. The guards to Harbor. Virgil has no need to 2nd to open guards to open. You have reached open space. Coastline to moon coastline to moon. You have reached guard to Harbor to 2nd Avenue to open space to 2nd Avenue number to Harbor to 2nd Avenue.
Harbor.
Safe to 2nd Avenue to 11th Street to 2nd Avenue.
To 11th.
Homeless man to 2nd homeless to 2nd. You have reached hardware store 2nd Avenue hardware to 5th hardware. Virgil doesn't 2nd Ave to 2nd Avenue 2nd Avenue. You have to 2nd Avenue. You have reached to 5th Street. You kid to 5th Street. Kid to Virgil's condominium to 2nd Avenue to 5th Street. No kid. The kid is looking at to 5th. The police station stands stoically on the northern side of the road. It's the same as it ever was, and fortunately, it's near Virgil's apartment. You safe wall. Safe. You saved to 5th Street to moon wall. Safe to 5th Street. Number. You to 5th to 2nd Avenue.
Avenue.
You to 5th to 2nd Avenue, number 27. Woman on the phone to ghetto to 2nd Avenue. To 2nd Avenue. Woman on to 2nd Ave. Woman on the phone. This woman is talking with some to ghetto. The ghetto of Moon to 2nd. You have reached to downtown bus stop to downtown center. To drugstore to 1st Street to drug. Virgil doesn't feel the need to buy booze. To 1st Street number to 1st Street number 19. Safe to bank to first to bank the city to first. You have reached to first new to club district to 1st Street. You have toy shop to Goddess's apartment to 1st. You have safe cat to 1st Street number 51. Teased to 1st Street to out of town.
It's out of town.
You have cactus. Hello to mechanics to move cactus to move to mechanic. You have mechanic. Virgil doesn't have all the things a mechanic needs yet. There should be some mechanics near the harbor and in the east and north parts of the city, and street riders in downtown. Virgil's call. Out of Virgil's call. Out of. You have to moons. You have reached east to First Street. Out of to First to East Road. To First Street, number 34. You have save point. Cat. To seg.
Apa lagi kita tak dapat guys?
To ghetto. To First Street. To back. To First Street. To back. To ghetto. The ghetto. To back. You have laundry. To Second Street. You have rate. To First. To back. To First. You have to Second Street. To First. Toy shop. To Goddesses. To First Street. To First Street. Number 25. Newspapers. The club. To First Street. Number 19. You have say to bank. To First Street. To Downtown Center. You have to drugstore. To First Street. To drugstore. To First Street. To First Street. To First. Cafe. To First Street. To downtown. To First Street. Cafe. Virgil. To First. Teenagers. A group of to First. To 7th Avenue. Tea and to First Street. Tea to Hardware. To 7th Avenue. Number 6. The First Tea and Coffee Shop. This shop special. The First to 7th Avenue.
Kedai kopi dengan teh.
Safe point to 7th Avenue. Safe old woman. One old to road to outskirts. You have reached van to 7th Avenue. Van. To out of town road. To northern nightclub. To 7th to north to out of town. You have reached construction site. To outskirts. Construction site. To facilities. To outskirts. Construction. To facility. Tumbleweed. To outskirts. To out of town. To warehouses. To out of to tumbleweed. To warehouse. You have reached worn car. An old car with some part. An old car to worn to moons. You have tumbled to outskirts to near the desert. You have reached road sign. The road to warehouse. To facility. Road sign. The road sign has been completely bent over. To warehouse. You have reached to the warehouse. To the warehouse. Road sign. To where? To facility. Road sign. To you to warehouses.
Salah lagi.
You to Moon City. You have to warehouse to out of town road. Constructions to facility. To outskirts. Construct town. You van to out of town road. To northern night to 7th Avenue. You have safe old woman to road to suburb. To suburb to parking lot to 7th Avenue to hardware to parking to suburbs. Virgil has no to 7th to parking lot. Biker. This bike to road to to lab to Fontana biker. To road to suburbs. To lab to Fontana's house. To lab to Fontana's house. You have shrubbery to Moons to Fontana's shrubbery to Font. You have table
Ya apa tu?
to Fontana poster to Fontana's home garden. You to Fontana's garage to Fontana's home.
Ya apa tadi ni?
You to Fontana to Moons
Locek. Ush, apa dah apa tu?
to lab to road. You have reached to 7th Avenue, number 16. You have reached to 7th Avenue, number. You have reached 7th Avenue, the 1st Street, number. You have reached the 1st Street. You have reached 1st Street, number to Downtown Center. You have reached to drugstore to 1st Street, not to 1st Street, number 19. You have reached safe to bank, safe, you say to bank to 1st Street.
Oh guys, tadi kita dapat benda guys. Ya, aku hairan.
You have reached news to Club District to 1st.
Cuba kita cek. Adakah kita dapat barang mekanik? Kita tak tahu.
You have reached toy shop to Goddess's apartment to 1st.
Kalau bukan, mana bukan. Kalau ya, mananya ya. Ya, kita cek.
You have reached save point. You save the cat to 1st.
So kalau betul dia akan men-drill guys. Dia akan ngeng macam tu guys.
You have reached to 1st Street to out of.
Tu.
You have reached cactus to mechanic. You have reached mechanic. Virgil doesn't have all the things mechanic needs. The mechanic's mechanic. Virgil does. Virgil's car. Out of.
Maknanya bukan je guys. Bukan.
You have reached to Moon City. You have reached to East Road to 1st Street. Out of to 1st.
Jadi maknanya bukanlah barang ni.
You have save point. Cat to 1st Street number to 1st Street number.
Aku pun terkejut guys. Tadi kita dapat apa ya?
You toy shop to Goddess's.
Kita tengok rumah yang ada garage ni.
You have reached bronze statue entrance door to Moon City entrance. You since portrait to lounge to studio to Goddess's since portrait to Goddess. You have reached to Moon City. You have reached toy shop to Goddesses to 1st Street. You have reached to 2nd
Kasih tahu. Hei, aku dah ke mana ni?
to 1st Street. You have save point cat to 1st to 1st to 1st. You to 1st Street. Number.
Sekejap guys, kejap.
You have to 1st Street to 1st Street to Club District to 1st Street. To Main Square to down to
Sebenarnya apa? Ada tak barang mekanik
supermarket to downtown super to 1st Street to 2nd Avenue number 6 to downtown condom super to
Kondominium ada tak?
You have reached Dusty Cat to move. Dusty Cat to move.
Dan apa yang menarik? Jadi kita
You have supermarket to 1st Street number 19.
tinggalkan tempat ni. Bye-bye.
Say to bank to 1st Street to downtown center.
Tapi aku betul lah guys. Aku hairan apa benda yang aku dapat tadi.
To drugs to 1st Street number 7. You have to down cafe to 1st Street.
Apa yang aku dapat?
You have the first teenager to 7th Avenue. You have tea and coffee to hardware store to 7th Avenue. You have reached safe old woman to road to suburbs. You have the suburb to parking to hardware store to parking. You biker to Fontana's house to lab.
Dia tengok kat lab.
You trash container. Car. The car is parked to main to move trash can to move to main room.
Okay, tengok lagi. Ada apa-apa lagi tak?
You have calendar. The cal to lab and cal to the left.
Apa tak?
You have metal table. The metal lockers. They're open, but to main metal tape to make. You have to lab entrance. Calendar to the left to the right side of it. Metallic to main room. Metallic rectangular contain to main.
Okay, tak ada apa yang menarik.
You have reached main room. The calendar is attached to the wall to lab. You have reached trash can to Moon City. You have reached biker to Fontana to lab to Fontana's house. To lab to Fontana's house. To Moon City to Fontana's garage. You have poster to Fontana poster. An old poster to You have reached to Fontana's garage. Shrubbery to Moon City to shrubbery. A perfect to Moon's. You have biker to Fontana to lab to road to. You have the suburb to parking lot to hardware store to 7th Avenue, number 16 to hard to park to suburbs to 7th Avenue to suburbs to park to hard to 7th Avenue. You have safe old woman to road to outskirts. You have ban to out of town road to northern nightclub to ban to northern to out of town.
Okay, cuba cari benda-benda.
Construction site. To facilities to outskirts to tumbleweed. The tumbleweed to outskirt to out of town road to warehouses garage to out of town road to near the to outskirts mansion.
Masuk mansion pula.
You have combat to front room. The front room to right room. The right to combat to move. You have tumbleweed to warehouses garage.
Ini ada garage.
Worn to Moon City. Worn car. An old car with some parts of the body rusted. To worn car to Moon.
Dia tak ada apa-apa.
You tumble to outskirt to near the road sign. The road sign is to warehouse to facility. Road sign to where.
Warehouse.
You have to Moon City. You have reached to facilities. You have to warehouses garage to out of.
Apa lagi?
You have to outskirts.
Kita cuba explore dulu.
You have to 7th Avenue. You have to 7th Avenue. You have reached the first street. You have the first street. You to downtown center. You have to drugstore to First Street. To First Street. Safe to bank. To First Street, number 20 to bank. The city's to First. You have reached news the club district. You hardware store to First Street hardware. Virgil doesn't to Blues Club. Virgil's fought to First Street to end of.
Aku tahu. Aku baru ingat guys.
You have reached to hacker to club district to hackers condom to China to club district to hack.
Kita pergi sini.
A dimly lit small ground floor, probably 4 by 4 meters, which only has an elevator leading up. The expert that Virgil and the drug dealer are looking for is on the 5th floor. You have reached ground floor, CAD. To hacker's apartment. It's a single room filled with bookcases stacked with binders. The hacker can be seen standing back against one in the semi-darkness of that room. Looks like a young dude wearing jeans, a yellow t-shirt, and a lab coat for some reason. He greets Virgil and the dealer and asks them to tell him his business or leave. You have a computer? It's a laptop. Half-closed Venetian blinds. Hacker. The ground floor. Computer. The hacker. Virgil and the drug dealer tell their situation to the hacker, and he says his price. Virgil pays him, and the hacker says that the operation will take him a while. He asks the drug dealer some questions about what he wishes for his new identity to be. Name, place of birth, that kind of thing. He answers the question, and then he and Virgil sit on a pair of chairs in the room waiting for the hacker to finish. After about 40 minutes of waiting, the hacker says that he's done, and shows that, in the States database and other sites, the drug dealer's name and other information has been replaced with what the dealer wanted. He also says to the drug dealer to talk to a certain guy downtown to get his forged documents. He already went and sent him a message in the minutes that have transpired. He gives him the contact. The dealer is very relieved and thanks the hacker profusely. He and Virgil get ready to leave the building. Computer. Half closed, the ground floor. You have to Moon City.
Baru boleh pergi.
You have reached to Chinese restaurant to club district.
Cuba try pergi Tengok dia drill.
You have reached to First Street.
Si mekanik tu drill tak? Tengok
You newspapers to club to First Street. Safe to back to First Street to downtown to Main Square to downtown to First. You have new to club district to First. You toy ship to goddessism to First. You have save point. You say cat to First Street to First to First. You have out of town. You have to move to mechanic school. You have mechanic. Virgil doesn't have all the things. Virgil's the mechanic stuff. Mechanic. Virgil doesn't have all. Town. Virgil's called town.
Dia tak drill.
You have ring to Moon City.
Okay, so dia tak drill.
You have reached to East Road to First Street, number.
Yep.
You have save point. Cat to First Street, number. You to East Road. You have reached East Road. Combat. Combat. Snake to Raptor to First Street to Eastern Garage. Combat to Eastern.
Aku tak pergi sini lah.
This garage is slightly out of town and is heavily accessorized. All kinds of illegal modification for cars must be kept here. The owner is near the entrance and greets Virgil. You have reached garage owner. The garage to Moon's nitrous engines. And to Moon's.
Lah. Okay, aku yakin mesti kali ni dia drill.
You have reached combat. Snake to Raptor to First Street to First.
Aku yakin guys.
Masih drill.
To East Road to First Street, number to out of town. Mechanics garage.
Mesti aku yakin punya.
You cactus to mechanic.
Mesti dia akan drill punya guys.
You have mechanic. Virgil gives the engine pieces he's holding to the mechanic. He takes them and starts thinking about how to best combine and disassemble them.
Betul.
To out of town road, Virgil's car. To out of Virgil's car. The mechanic has finished applying modifications to the car. Now it has the acceleration and top speed vastly improved. On the downside, the vehicle is now noticeably heavier. The solvent has also been dutifully applied. With this, the car is almost unrecognizable from how it was before. Virgil thinks that after getting a gun from his drug dealer friend, he'll have to go to the police station to enact his plan. To out of town.
Pergi police station. So pergi police station kan.
You have to Moon City.
Betul dia drill guys tadi kan. Ngeng ngeng.
You have to East Road to First
Cuma lama lah, sorry ya guys.
Save Point. You save to Second Street, number 4 to First
Okay, sekarang kita kena balik ke station police. Jom.
Toy Shop to Goddess to First. You to First Street.
Okay.
You to Mains to down.
Kan betul aku cakap dia.
You have to First Street to First Street to Drugstore to Second Avenue. You have rate bus stop to Second Avenue to Main Square to Second.
Second Avenue. Second Avenue.
You to Second Avenue.
Fifth Street.
You have to Fifth Street.
Fifth Street lagi.
You have to Fifth Street.
Balik ke station police.
Wall to Moon City to Fifth Save Point. You save to Fifth to Moon. You have rate to Virgil's up to Fox. You Window Plant Commissioner to Main Hall. Commissioner Fox has nothing to say to Virgil right to make.
Oh, aku rasa kena pergi ni kot.
You have rate to Virgil's office.
Virgil office. Aku rasa lah.
It has a computer and some files stored in the bookshelves. You have reached bookcase. Contain desk. Police station PC. Virgil begins browsing the web for as much information regarding Hill and her lawsuit as he can find. After finding 3 internet pages with information on her, he prints them out and stuffs the photocopies in his jacket. He then turns off the PC. He's not going to need it anymore, but decided to leave the police force. Saving Hill will require that. What he has in mind won't sit well with his superiors, and it's going to get him fired at the very least. He decides to talk to Fox one last time to tell him that he's leaving for good.
Oh.
Bookcase. Desk to main hall. Bookcase to main.
Okay, so kita kena cakap dengan Fox.
You have reached the corridor to Virgil's up to Fox's office. Window plant. Commissioner Fox. Virgil leaves his badge on Fox's desk and tells him that he's leaving the police force. Fox looks disappointed, and while Virgil heads towards the exit, Fox gets up from his chair and calls out to Virgil to give him one last warning. The police force will do anything to remove the bad apples that worked in it. Virgil responds that it doesn't matter to him, and that he no longer believes in ordinary justice. The police forces can try to do whatever they want. He'll find a way to make sure that who is really innocent gets free, and who is really guilty gets what it deserves. Virgil, making sure that everything is ready, approaches the police station with his car. It's evening. He sees the girl carried by 2 policemen in an armored vehicle.
Okay, jom. Kita escape lagi sekali.
Get ready. Start in 3, 2, 1. Obstacle in the center.
Wow.
Center. Left. Virgil gets hit.
Aduh.
Obstacle on the left. Left. Center. Right. Track completed at 50%. Left. Center. Right. Virgil gets hit. Out of track. Obstacle in the center. Obstacle on the right. Virgil gets hit. Obstacle on the right. Obstacle in the center. Obstacle on the right. Center. 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 Left. Right. The escape is over. Virgil successfully escaped. You have completed the game at
96%.
Keep driving in Moon City to discover new secrets. Welcome to Fury Driver, Original Sin. Swipe left to continue a previous game. Swipe right to start a new game. Swipe up or down to increase or decrease the background music's volume. Tap to listen to the credits.
Oh guys, so inilah game dia, Fury Driver. So akhirnya aku berjaya juga habiskan game ni. So maaf jika ada yang terlebih atau yang kurang. So di next video InsyaAllah aku akan review Fury Driver Moonwalks, iaitu Fury Driver 1. So harap korang enjoy dengan video tadi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.